Acting Minister Kit Malthouse is waiting to talk to us this morning. He has said that if anyone has any doubts when approached by a police officer, they should do, as was suggested there, call 999. Good to speak to you this morning, Mr. Malthouse. It's not a great morning, though, is it? It's a very, very sad morning when women, young girls and others, men too, are feeling such a terrible loss of trust in a police force.
Yeah, Kate, I mean, I've spent a decade or more working alongside the police, and it's easily one of the most devastating mornings for UK policing that we've had for a long time. Obviously, the primary devastation and concern is for Sarah Everard's family, who, as a father myself, it's unimaginable what they're going through. But at the same time, I completely understand what you're saying, that for all those thousands of police officers out there who are doing incredible things on a daily basis, they've now got a question mark over their heads in those kind of circumstances.
They really have, because, you know, there seems to have been a whole number of potential failings that led inevitably to the utter tragedy of her death. Failure to investigate allegations of indecent exposure properly, failures to check who owned the car where this indecent exposure took place, seemingly a WhatsApp group with other members of the police force in the Met and also across the country, other police forces as well, sharing, you know, disturbing material. Why could this go so badly wrong? Because we know that police officers do an incredible job. Good police officers are equally suffering because of these failures. And yet we're in a situation where the police who are there to protect us don't seem to have been able to have policed themselves.
Well, you're spot on, Kate. And I mean, one of the things that we'll be looking at, obviously, very seriously is how this monster could have slipped through the net. As you will know, police forces have robust vetting procedures, trying to weed out those people who are not suitable to be police officers. This seems not to have worked in these circumstances. We have seen some improvements in vetting recently. I know the Metropolitan Police earlier this year, for example, started looking closely at officers' social media output to see what they could detect. And on the WhatsApp group, we have got a national working group where we're sitting alongside the senior police officers looking at what we can do about this phenomenon of WhatsApp and police officers' interaction with it. But look, you're absolutely right. You know, out there now today on our streets, there are thousands of police officers who are running towards the sort of incidents that you and I would flee. And, you know, they are as devastated, I know, as all of us are, about the implications of this. There will be a job to be done to rebuild trust. That means we have to be open and transparent and non-defensive about the lessons coming out of this dreadful, dreadful incident. I know the Metropolitan Police are committed to it. But alongside that, of course, Kate, it's very important that we address the widespread concern around violence against women and girls. You'll know earlier this year we published a comprehensive strategy. But if you like, at the crunchy end, I hope you'll see over the weeks and months to come some really sort of hard actions to make women and girls feel safer in the public realm, and hopefully that they can go about their business.
Kit Malthouse, there is an awful lot to do. When you say weeks and months, that's what's going to worry people, because in the time between Sarah Everard losing her life and Wayne Couzens being sentenced, 80 more women have lost their lives. They're in the weeks and months since that happened. They are all there on the screen for people to see. We're in a situation now where the policing minister is genuinely saying, if you are feeling nervous about being stopped by the police, call 999. Call the police because you aren't sure that the police person, the policeman or woman that's stopping you is sort of in the right place to be doing that. I mean, it's such a sad indictment of where we are, of what this government has allowed our police force to get to, where the police force is as well.
No, I think that's an unfair characterisation. I mean, this is obviously the devastating consequence of this appalling man perpetrating the crime.
But it's not that, though, is it? Because he seems to be on a WhatsApp group with other police officers that are now being investigated because that's come to light because of this case. How many other situations are going unvetted? We know that a huge number of allegations have been put against serving police officers, 750. Of sexual misconduct against them. Very few of them led to charges. Now, that might well mean that the others were found to be unfounded. We don't know the detail of that, but it's not confidence-inducing. And the practical reality that if someone is nervous, which people will be over the next week at the very least, calling 999 to call another police officer to take time away from that police officer going to sort out another problem. That is the solution to this problem today from the policing minister.
I mean, these are instructions that have been issued by the police themselves, guidance for people who are in doubt about the bona fides of a plainclothes police officer in those circumstances. And unfortunately, that is the profoundly difficult situation that the Metropolitan Police have found themselves because of the action of this man. But look, there are lots of things that we can and should do. As I say, we need to make sure, and we have been looking at vetting over the last couple of years to make sure it's as tight as possible. There's an inspection going on at the moment looking at vetting, particularly a really deep and profound inspection of the Metropolitan Police's vetting procedures. We've got, as I say, a working group now looking at this interaction of police officers with WhatsApp and what we can do and other messaging services about problems that may come from that interaction. But that sits alongside the wider work.
If somebody has been alleged, well, let's just keep it really practical. This man was given a nickname of the rapist, an appalling nickname. OK, if there's somebody that has an allegation against them in this way, where we've seen that 700-odd allegations have been there, are they suspended from duty or are they still out serving as a police officer while that's investigated?
Well, look, police officers, allegations are made every day against police officers. They're a naturally confrontational situation. What we have is a system where the public can go to the force and require action to be taken or an investigation. And if they're dissatisfied with that, that can be referred to an independent body, the Independent Office for Police Complaints, who will look at it independently and investigate. Now, in some circumstances, obviously, suspension is warranted. Immediate suspension, that happens in a number of cases, in others not. It depends on the nature of the complaint. But what we need to do is to make sure that the public have confidence.
Yeah, but that's part of the way you make confidence, by having it in practice. For instance, if there was something robust...
It's very important just to say that those thousands of police officers out there that you've rightly referred to are doing their job, that they also rely on a complaint.
And that was my point. That was my point, that it enables them to feel more confident in standing up against someone who was known to be of concern, because they see that when an allegation is made, that person, there's an action taken against them.
Yes, that's right. And also that they have confidence that if they come forward to report the actions of a fellow officer, that, as you say, that will be taken seriously and taken forward in a proportionate way. Now, Kit
Malthouse, just quickly, because I know we're losing you very shortly, in terms of consequences to this, we just had a panel. Mandu Reid, the Women's Equality Party leader. We had a Labour MP, Belle Ribeiro Addy, and we had a former Met Chief Superintendent, Palm Sandhu, who has first-hand experience of working with the Met Police, of course, unanimously saying that Cressida Dick should stand down now. She has been a fantastic leader in many ways. Palm had a huge amount of respect for her and what she'd done. But right now, because of what's happened and where we are, it is time for her to step down and someone come at this with a new set of eyes. Is that something that you think should happen now? Do you have faith in Cressida Dick, or are you looking at potentially finding an alternative replacement for her?
Look, being Met Commissioner is one of the top 3 most difficult jobs in the country. It's extremely hard. You're handling huge risk with a big organisation, doing difficult and often confrontational things. I've known Cressida Dick, worked with her for over a decade now. She's a committed and talented leader and detective. She's particularly committed to this agenda of violence against women and girls. Alongside the strategy we published in July, she's working hard to get those numbers down. What I want in a police leader is somebody who, when this sort of event, and this is a catastrophic one, happens, that they are open and transparent and non-defensive, and that they are committed to change in their organisation. And that's definitely what I see with Cressida Dick.
OK, we're going to have to leave it there. Kit Malthouse, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.